In today's video, I'm reviewing a 2004 Dodge Grand Caravan. The Caravan was first introduced to market back in 1984 and essentially invented the minivan segment. It's now in its 5th generation, and this 2004 model is part of the 4th generation that was built from 2001 to 2007. With the introduction of the 3rd generation model, the Caravan, we saw quite a progression in the overall exterior style and design. The prior generation was very boxy and squared off, and when they came out with that 3rd generation model, gave it a much more aerodynamic, kind of futuristic look. And this 4th generation model really kind of takes things from there and continues that progression, giving it a slightly more updated, modern look, but really maintaining much of the overall look of that prior model. It's got a slightly more curved look in general, with some softer lines. And then you'll see on the back that it's got much larger taillights than that previous generation. And then likewise, if we go around to the front, you'll see that the headlight and grille grew quite a bit when compared with the prior generation. So pretty large grille up front here. The Caravan is also mechanically identical to the Chrysler Town & Country and the Plymouth Voyager. So you're going to find that those two models look slightly different, but are basically the same vehicle. They're also offered in 2 different wheelbase options. So they've got a short wheelbase and an extended wheelbase. This is the extended wheelbase option. Both still come with seating for up to 7, but with the short wheelbase, you're gonna have a little bit less cargo capacity. The all-wheel drive model of the Caravan is a really great option for inclement weather climates. My parents actually had a 1995 Dodge Grand Caravan SE that came in all-wheel drive, and it handled very well in snow and ice. Despite the fact that minivan sales have really decreased quite a bit in recent years, Chrysler actually still holds a 70% share of the market between its Chrysler Pacifica and Dodge Caravan models. And so it's really been the leader ever since it invented this segment back in 1984. And they do really offer a very competitive offering within this segment, very competitive from a price standpoint with a lot of unique features and functionality. And they're pretty good, durable, reliable long-term vehicles. This model's got over 230,000 miles on it and runs very well. When my parents sold theirs, it had about 185,000 miles on it, and they had very few issues with it in the time that they owned it as well. The interior of the Caravan is really basic and simple overall. It's got a nice clean layout, and it's all about being very functional and practical. See, they've got pretty decent quality materials on the interior, given its age and classification. And there's a pretty good level of standard features on this model. Got power windows and door locks, as well as power mirrors, power seats, which are fairly plush, controls on the steering wheel for cruise control on the left and right. Instrument cluster has white gauges, which gives it a little bit sporty look. In the middle, we've got AM/FM radio with CD player and cassette player. Dual zone climate control for driver and front passenger. Of course, air conditioning and heating. Number of little cubbies here. So we got a cubby here, down here, a couple 12-volt power outlets. Manual dimming rear view mirror. And then jumping into the back of the vehicle, you'll see that we've got sliding doors on both the driver and passenger side, providing very easy access to the back of the vehicle. This model's got the center row bucket seats, really nice offering. Armrests on both sides. And the great thing about the bucket row seats is it makes access to the 3rd row seat really simple. So you can go through the middle of those 2 seats, which is what most people are going to do, but you've also got an option to pull this lever. It's hard to do with one hand, but you can pull this lever to fold the seat back down, and then this lever will lift the whole seat up. And so you've got 2 ways to access that back seat. Got cup holders built into the sides of these center row seats. And the other great thing is access to the front of the vehicle is also very easy. That was one thing growing up with a Caravan, is that it was really easy to get from the front to the back of the vehicle, something you can't really do in most SUVs. So that's nice. And third row seat is very spacious compared to a lot of third row SUVs, again, that are going to be very crammed. That's one thing that you really get with a minivan, is that those seats are a lot more spacious. Floorboard is much lower, giving you more legroom. And then coming around to the trunk of the Caravan, it's very spacious as well. This is another great advantage over SUVs, is that you're getting a vehicle that's, you know, really more the size of a crossover SUV, or even maybe even smaller, and yet it's still very spacious. You get lots of legroom, lots of headroom, and lots of cargo capacity. That's hard to find in most crossover vehicles. I remember my parents, when they sold their Caravan, they bought a Chevy Tahoe, and we actually found that there was more cargo space in the back of the Caravan than the Tahoe, which is surprising because that's such a bigger vehicle, or at least it gives the appearance that it is. So very practical vehicle in that sense. You'll see that this third row seat is split down the middle, making it easier to pull out the third row seat if necessary. The Caravan doesn't allow for these seats to be folded into the floor as many other models within this segment. And the reason that they do that is because it's available in that all-wheel drive configuration, and there's no real good way to get those seats to fold into the floor and offer all-wheel drive. There are 3 different engine options available on the Caravan. The base engine is a 2.4 liter 4-cylinder with 150 horsepower, good for an EPA rating of 17 miles per gallon in the city and 24 on the highway. This model has the 3.3 liter V6 with 180 horsepower and an EPA rating of 17 miles per gallon in the city and 24 on the highway. They've also got an optional 3.8 liter V6 with 215 horsepower. That engine is available in an all-wheel drive configuration, and that model is going to see 15 to 16 miles per gallon in the city and 21 to 23 miles per gallon on the highway. Minivans definitely don't have a reputation for being very cool, but they do a lot of things very well. And in a lot of ways, despite the fact that crossovers and SUVs are kind of destroying this whole segment because of popularity, minivans do a lot of those roles better than the crossovers and SUVs. They have superior fuel economy, they're more comfortable, they offer a better car-like driving experience, they're very quiet, and they're very practical vehicles for families, in part because they have so much space inside. You know, you can get 7 passengers in and they can be very comfortable, and yet you can still have plenty of space in the back for all that cargo, and you know, really easy access from the front and back of the vehicle getting through. And so they do all of that very well. And despite the fact that they don't offer a very exciting driving experience, they're not bad either. The Caravan has a very peppy 6-cylinder engine with plenty of power for what it's supposed to do. Steering feels pretty good, brake feels pretty good, and just overall it's a very practical vehicle. It's very comfortable, very quiet, and it kind of does everything very well without being too exciting in any way. So that's a review of the 2004 Dodge Grand Caravan. Overall, really solid vehicle that's definitely worth your consideration if you're looking to get into a practical family vehicle. They aren't as cool as SUVs, but they do offer a lot of advantages. They're very comfortable, they're easy to get into, they're very fuel efficient, and they're very spacious. On top of that, they come in at a much more competitive price point than most crossovers and SUVs. If you have any comments or questions on the Caravan, leave them in the section below. For more car reviews, subscribe to my channel. In the meantime, thanks for watching.